What is happening, Magnusites? So, this is some interesting news. This makes me think that there's been an issue here with Mr. Johnson and the backlash from The Last Jedi. Let's see what this story says. A month prior to the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi, Disney announced that director Rian Johnson would be developing a new trilogy. However, there is in question if it just might be canceled. November of 2017 saw it announced that Rian Johnson would write and direct the first of a new Star Wars trilogy described as separate from the episodic Skywalker saga. Rian Johnson will introduce new characters from a corner of the galaxy that Star Wars lore has never before explored. Star Wars, not following the poor reception, now following the poor reception of Star Wars The Last Jedi, coupled with it also questioned if Kathleen Kennedy will be fired, and the lukewarm reception of Han Solo, longtime Lucasfilm production designer Neil Lamont. I've never heard anybody named with the last name Lamont. Made me think of Sanford and Son. Anyway, drops a potential bombshell in that the Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy might have either been placed on hold, or been canceled. Neil Lamont confirms that work on a spin-off thought to be Obi-Wan Kenobi has been seemingly placed on the back burner, where he interestingly enough mentions new galaxies. We were just starting our work on another Star Wars spin-off, and we were actually just making our mark on Tatooine, which would have been interesting, and some other new galaxies. So hopefully, if that comes back, we'll get the chance to be able to do that further. To be clear, it is not known which movie Lamont is talking about, but it's possible that Neil Lamont could have been talking about both an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, which makes sense with mention of Tatooine, and it's speculated the Obi-Wan movie would have been taking place after Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan isolated himself on Tatooine to watch over the young Luke Skywalker, and the Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy. So it could have been either or. After all, would the Obi-Wan prequel introduce new galaxies? Yet the description for the Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy states, new characters from a corner of the galaxy that Star Wars lore has never explored before. Of course, it is very well possible that Neil Lamont could simply be talking about the Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy, which might have involved Tatooine, but then went to a corner of the galaxy that Star Wars lore has never before explored. Obi-Wan actor Ewan McGregor has even stated that no movie involving the characters is in the works. Okay. They say it's worth a mention that following the Star Wars The Last Jedi, which has made considerably less at the box office than The Force Awakens, Star Wars at Disney seems to be in disarray. This past June saw it reported that Disney CEO Bob Iger had a sit down with the heads of Lucasfilm, Pixar, and Marvel to get their Star Wars franchise right. And also that Iger wanted to fire and replace Kathleen Kennedy. It has been said that there are those within Disney that hate what Rian Johnson did with Star Wars The Last Jedi, which may be in part backed up by what Mark Hamill has said about disagreeing with Johnson's portrayal of Luke Skywalker. Yes. In addition, Andy Serkis has publicly made it known that he hopes Snoke is still alive. See, this is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And legendary composer John Williams also chimed in that he hopes J.J. Abrams is fixing things in episode 9 as well. I think, man, Abrams is our savior right now, man. Abrams is going to make all this right. It's still further been said, there are those within Disney that aren't happy that Kennedy let Harrison Ford dictate his character's death in The Force Awakens as well. Well, when I heard that Harrison was coming back, I already knew he was going to die. Because he wanted them to die in Return of the Jedi, right? So I already knew. I said, he talked them into letting him die. I know it. There's also the fact that the following James Gunn getting fired by Disney for tweets about rape and pedophilia, Rian Johnson proceeded to delete over 20,000 tweets. Wow, that's a lot of tweets. A question on many fans' minds and some sources state within Disney is, why isn't Dave Filoni more involved with the Star Wars movies following having done such a stellar job on the animated series? This is a very, 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 very long article. Very long article. Now it talks about Kathleen Kennedy here. It says the majority of the problems look to lie on the shoulders of Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, who back in 2016 made no hesitation in stating to New York Times that I don't feel that I have a responsibility to cater in some way. I would never just seize on anything. Well, in this franchise that appealed primarily to men for many, many years, and therefore I owe men something. In essence, what Kennedy is stating is that she owes the longtime Star Wars fans nothing, which explains a lot, and it's something the earlier reports from June says Disney is not happy with, as the company realizes those fans are the bread and butter. That's very, very true. I mean, my fans, 97%, no, 93% at this time, I think, are all male. Males mainly built my channel. For me to turn and all of a sudden start doing things that were catering to women, although I've never, I'm just speaking business-wise, that wouldn't make any sense. Because if I start catering to women specifically, I could lose my male audience and as well not gain the female audience needed to make up for the male audience that I would lose. You see what I'm saying here? But anyway, I've always just been me though. But I'm saying if I was marketing toward males, I just learned, as my channel grew, that yes, males are mainly interested in what I do. So for me to change that would be detrimental to my business, Under Kathleen Kennedy, there have been numerous problems ranging from production problems with directors, let's see here, Colin Trevorrow exited episode 9 because of disagreements with Rian Johnson's episode 8. Gareth Edwards getting replaced on Rogue One. Josh Trank fired from a spinoff. Phil Lord and Chris Miller getting fired from Han Solo in place. Damn, that's a lot of stuff. Regarding episode 9, the report from June also stated that Kathleen Kennedy is letting it all fall on the shoulders of J.J. Abrams, and that she has stepped back and has given him complete control. It's further been said episode 9 is DOA, and that it is too late to do any course correction for the movie. I don't know about that. That's some clever writers could change things and make things look good. You know what I mean? You never know. Currently, Star Wars Episode 9 is in development at Disney, which is now filming. Logan director James Mangold is also said to be developing a new Star Wars spinoff, thought to be a Boba Fett, but Disney hasn't officially announced it. Jon Favreau is also developing a new Star Wars TV series for the upcoming Disney streaming app. This more or less seems the fate of the current Star Wars movie universe under Kathleen Kennedy rests on the shoulders of J.J. Abrams and the reception of Star Wars Episode 9, which comes out December 2019. See what Andy Serkis has to say. It's a great character, and I'd be keen, Serkis told THR in March about Snoke. I know it frustrated a lot of people that Snoke came to such a sticky end so quickly, but I loved that big scene in the relationship between Daisy Ridley's character and Snoke. And where it goes from there, and what escalates from that moment, you know the fight that kicks off after that. So I really think it's great in the movie, but yeah, I could quite happily, I'd be very happy to extend Snoke's life for sure. John Williams. Rey's parents might be identified to us in the next film. The interviewer then remarks, I hope so. Williams replied, I hope so too. The reviewer also remarked, I assume they are pretty extraordinary. Somebody tried to tell her that they were anonymous people who died in the desert. I don't believe that. John Williams said, I don't believe it either. That's what I was saying. Tyrone Magnus said, I don't believe it either. Mark Hamill. Regarding what Mark Hamill had to say on Luke Skywalker, I refuse to believe that he's gone, Hamill told BBC back in March. My theory is that he just teleported somewhere and left his robe behind. He teleported to a nudist colony. That's what I'm hoping. Mark Hamill also revealed that the epic original ending to Star Wars The Force Awakens was changed to accommodate Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. When we were doing, Rian said, when we were doing The Force Awakens, Rian said, we might have boulders floating to show your Force emanating, so I was led to believe that I still had the Force and I was really strong, Hamill said. When I read The Last Jedi before The Force Awakens came out, I said, what? And called J.J. Abrams or Rian to say, are you guys aware of this? Have you seen a cut? Is there full floating boulders? They said no. We caught that and we worked it all out. He says he didn't agree with Rian Johnson's approach to Luke in Star Wars The Last Jedi. I said to Rian, Jedis don't give up. I mean, even if he had a problem, he would maybe take a year to try and regroup. But if he made a mistake, he would try and right that wrong. So right there, we had a fundamental difference. But it's not my story anymore. It's somebody else's story. And Rian needed me to be a certain way to make the ending effective. That's the crux of my problem. Luke would never say that. I'm sorry. Well, in this version, I'm talking about the George Lucas Star Wars. This is the next generation of Star Wars, so I almost has to think of Luke as another character. Maybe he is Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker, but I had to do what Rian wanted me to do because it serves the story well. But listen, I still haven't accepted it completely. But it's only a movie. I hope people like it. I hope they don't get upset. And I came to really believe that Rian was the exact man they need for the job. Mark Hamill says he agreed with Colin Trevorrow's approach to Luke Skywalker in Episode 9, but Trevorrow was fired. The changes in the directors have been hard for me because I admire Phil so much, I admire Chris so much, I admire Colin and their body of work, but again, it's got to be real difficult to come to a meeting of minds on something like this. I had a discussion with Colin. I was very excited because we were on the same page in terms of where we wanted to go, how we wanted to see Luke in that way, that we never see him, even in this current version. But I don't know what went on. I don't know because there's no upside to this story. I like all those people. I like Kathy. I like Lawrence Kasdan. and all the people involved with the decision, but sometimes ignorance is bliss. They don't tell me anything. He said he laughed. Oh man, so there we have it, y'all. There's all the news on it. Here's the thing. Rian Johnson's a good director, and there were some cool scenes in The Last Jedi. But just the story where they took it was just absolutely horrible to me as a fan. It was just horrible. It was blasphemy. It was sacrilege. It was just. So, here's the thing. I wouldn't be opposed to him directing another trilogy if they give us what we want. I've heard that's one of the sayings of the first rule of business. Give the people what they want. Give the people what they want. You know what I mean? Post comments down below. Let me know what you think about all the news we talked about. If you enjoyed my video, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. If you did not, just fine. Get kissed from a Star Wars loving derriere. 10 million subscribers. Woo! You may now subscribe.